Hi, so today I'm going to be teaching you how to create a crosstab on Simmons OneView. This is going to be a very basic tutorial on just how to create a crosstab with rows and columns and how to save it so that you can edit it later. First of all, to use the program, we have to go to our school's website, which is why we are on Syracuse University's main page. We're going to scroll down to get to libraries, and then we are going to click on databases. Once we're in the database, to find Simmons, we have to go to the S section and scroll all the way down to Simmons. Click on it, and we should be able to click Proceed. And once we're in, we want to set up our document properly so that we can receive all the data correctly and edit as we go without creating flaws or error. First things first is that we're going to want to name our crosstab. So since our practice crosstab that we're going to do in class today is going to be about smartphones, we're going to name this one EDST_smartphones. To start off with the crosstab, we begin with the columns. And in the columns, we put in demographics. And since this is the preliminary research, we're going to get as much information about all demographics so that we can determine who should our target audience be. So we're going to click under Lifestyle Demographics and then Personal Information. We're going to go to Gender. And we're going to click both Male and Female. And we're going to click and drag to add to our column. Next, we're going to do age. So we want ages 22 just up until under 50. And we're going to click all these and click and drag. Next, we want information about marital status of our possible target audience. So we're going to click presently married and not married. Click, drag, and finally we want to know if our possible target audience are a parent or guardian. So we're going to click parent or guardian of any child. We're going to click yes and no. Click, drag, and we're going to make sure that all of it got in here. Yep, so we're going to click save to finish off our columns. And then we're going to move into our rows. So rows is opposite of columns. With columns, it's demographics. With rows, it's ideologies, thoughts, and opinions from our possible target audience. To do rows, we're going to go up and close the lifestyle demographics and open up cell and smartphones. We're going to click cell phone smartphones. And obviously we want to know if our possible target audience, do they own a smartphone, yes or no. So with rows, we always click use question text. That way it will include the question as well as the answer in the row. Because if we don't, we're just going to get a bunch of yes and no's in the row and not know what question it was answering. So click use question text and then click yes and no. Click and drag into rows. Make sure it actually gets in there. Next, we want to know the purpose of use. So we're going to click business and personal. Click, drag. Let's really make sure it gets in here. I'm not quite sure. Oh, there it is. Next, we want to know the brands that our possible target audience use. So we're going to do the more popular brands, including Apple, Motorola, and Samsung. Click, drag. Next, we're going to know, we want to know what company they subscribe to. So again, the more popular ones, including AT&T, Sprint, and Verizon. We want to know their current plan. So annual, prepaid, or no contract we want to know. Click all the options, click and drag, and then we want to know what that plan is. So business, family, or individual, click all three options, put it into the rows, make sure they're all in here. Yep. And lastly, for rows, we want to know lifestyle statements. This is going to give us information about how the possible target audience feels. So we're going to click on attitudes and opinions about cell phones and smartphones. We want to know any agree. And then these statements are basically opinions and feelings that the target audience has. So first one, if I have access to a landline phone, then I won't use my cell phone. So we clicked any agree, so that means these people all feel like these statements are partly true. So we're going to click all of them because we want as much information as possible in order to determine who our target audience would be. So to click first all the way through the last one, click and drag into rows, make sure they all were in there, and then finally save so that we can always come back and edit up until this point. And now we're going to click Run Crosstab. And here it is. So as you can see, we can compare male versus females on the specific question of, do you own a smartphone? And we can do that with everything. So we know that the very first row is, do you own a smartphone? Now we can compare about, are you presently married or not married? Do you own a smartphone? Here's the data for each of those clearly laid out. And we can continue going down and go to about the lifestyle statements. And agree, I switched to my current cell phone service provider because they offered better plans. Who agreed to that, and how much, what percentage of presently married versus not married. So we're actually going to learn how to specifically read these percentages and indexes in the next lesson. But now we have learned how to officially create a Simmons crosstabs that is perfectly organized and readable. And since we saved it, it was easy. We can come back later, we can edit it, and all the data is saved so that when we learn how to read it, we can finally analyze this data. Thank you so much for listening, and keep playing around with the documents and how to pull different information into each row and column just to see how things are laid out and how the information works with each other before we finally learn how to read it. I hope this was easy to follow along, and of course if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks.